So let's talk about Dexter Season 1, Episode 8, entitled Shrink Wrap. In this episode, Dexter goes to therapy. Dexter and his sister Debra have sex. Not with each other. Now, don't even think that. This show may be sick at times, but it's not that sick. And we find out who the real ice truck killer is. And we also find out whether Rita decides to go back with her husband Paul or stay with Dexter. So let's get this review started. All right, so there are a few story threads that are going on in this episode. Let's first talk about Dexter going to therapy. This is his kill for the episode. At the beginning of this episode, you find out that there are some women who have been committing suicide, and the only thing tying them together is their therapist. So Dexter decides to go on the prowl, goes to this therapist to get therapy, and actually makes some breakthroughs while he's there. It runs throughout several scenes during the episode, and Dexter actually has a big breakthrough. And because of that breakthrough, he is able to go over and see Rita after having a terrible outing with her at one point. He went over to the house. He actually got called over. She called him to the house very urgently. And he gets there, and she just wanted to be with him. And she wanted to have sex with him. She actually puts him on the couch, undresses, and is ready to have sex with him, and he's not ready for that. So he kind of puts her clothes back on her and says he's got a big case and he can't deal with this right now, which was the ultimate burn. Well, because of his therapy, he actually has a breakthrough, is able to go see her, and finally they are able to have sex. Paul is also in this episode, and she realizes she no longer wants to be with Paul, doesn't want that part of her life back. She does want to stay with Dexter. So she is fully in Dexter's court at this stage. So they were able to consummate their relationship. Later on, you find out that this therapist didn't directly kill his patients. What he's been doing is suggesting it to them through their therapy. So all four of these women, or three or four, who had committed suicide using a gun, he actually had coaxed them to do it through therapy. At the very end of the episode, Dexter is able to finally tell him that he's a killer. And you can see that Dexter is very relieved when he says that. And the guy gets this real weird look on his face, and Dexter does end up taking him down and killing him. So that's Dexter's kill for this episode. It helped Dexter tremendously. You also got to see some flashbacks with Dexter's father helping him through his childhood so that he didn't do something wrong, that he only did the right thing and went after bad people. Situation he had at school with a bully, and Dexter was actually about to kill this bully when his father was able to stop him. So through the therapy, Dexter did get some help. Debra and the doctor. There's a big step forward with them in this episode, and they also consummate their relationship. And afterwards, Debra actually cries, and he finds that kind of strange, and she just, he mentioned that, well, she talks about how intimate this is, and it's not like anything else she's ever done. And he talks about, truly making love. And she says, don't ever say that around me again. It makes her uncomfortable, but that's what she was feeling, all kinds of emotions, actually having a physical connection and a loving connection with somebody. So both Dexter and his sister did have sex in this episode. So there was, plenty to go around. Now let's talk about the ice truck killer. There's a little bit of movement forward. Well, actually, there's a big step forward with this because Dexter had mentioned to Laguerta that he didn't think that this killer was actually the ice truck killer, the one that Neil, that they had gotten in the last episode. So Laguerta makes a deal with this guy to become, very well known and basically immortal by having a trial and getting his name out there in the paper if he will help her find the real ice truck killer and, kind of really help her along with the case. He kind of agrees to this and realizes she's just playing him. Well, in the end, she brings in a head. And, she brings in this cooler from the coroner's office and pulls out this head. And the guy freaks out. And she is able to finally determine that this guy is not the ice truck killer, that he, in fact, did not kill his mom even, that she had died of a heart attack. And he had just used that as an opportunity to learn a little bit about, not necessarily dismemberment, but to learn about taxidermy and other things, using her body, and then buried it. So this guy really, other than, unlawful disposal of a body, really didn't do anything. Well, he did do some stuff with some hookers and stuff, but I don't think he ever actually killed anyone. What he had done is he had actually broken into the firewall at the police department, and that's how he was able to have so much information about the scenes, the photos, and everything. And this all comes to light as you find out that Laguerta got her job while she was on a case with Dokes. At one point, she was on the same level as Dokes, and they had a case together in which she was able to collar the guy. And Dokes never came forward, and, it was actually because of him that they caught the guy, but Laguerta took the credit for that so she could get her promotion. And Dokes never denied it. Because it would make him look like he was whining about what happened. And so they kind of keep that under wraps. Well, this guy had information on it, and she knew that it really wasn't him. So he is not the ice truck killer. In the very final scene of this episode, there's a big breakthrough, because earlier in the episode, Dexter is trying to get in communication with the ice truck killer because he hasn't heard from the ice truck killer. The whole thing went cold since the guy had been arrested. And Dexter knew that he was still out there. So he put a Craigslist ad out there. And, it was listed as Barbie looking for Ken. And he got a bunch of responses that had nothing to do with the ice truck killer. Well, in the very final scene, you see the doctor that Debra has been dating actually calls up Debra and says he can't meet that night. He's got some business he needs to take care of. Soon as she gets off, he goes to his computer and is responding to Dexter's email through Craigslist. And he's got the rest of the body of the Barbie sitting there on his desk. He then gets up, and you see that he's got a freezer in his apartment. He walks into the freezer. There's big tubs of blood and bodily fluid on some shelves, and he is getting the next victim ready to go reveal to the police. So we find out that this prosthetic doctor, the one that actually helped Tucci, is in fact the ice truck killer. So we've got 4 episodes left in this season, and we're going to see as things ramp up as we get to the season finale. This was another great episode. The writing in this show is brilliant. The score is brilliant. It's a show that gets you hooked. In fact, this was the very first show that my wife and I binge watched. There were times where we found ourselves up at 2 o'clock in the morning, like, we got to get up soon. And we just kept going, and you don't want to stop watching the program. So it's brilliantly written, brilliantly directed, brilliantly acted. Everything about this show is great, and it gets you from the get-go. So this is another one of the great episodes, and look for the next episode coming up in the next couple of days. So that's my review and recap for Dexter Season 1, Episode 8, entitled Shrink Wrap. Thanks for watching. Hit that notification bell and the subscribe button, and you will be notified anytime I have new videos go up. I do appreciate it.